Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. This week, we're going to talk about a subject that I started back when we first started this show, which I want to talk a little bit about Facebook. They've been in the news recently, and they've been having some trouble of late. Now, this is more national than it does have to do with local, but it does have local implications, especially with everybody here. You know, we have our own profiles and everything else. And I got some interesting points to talk about, kind of what Facebook's going through in the last week. Now, Facebook's been in the press the last couple of weeks, and really not in a good way. And when I started this show, my first episode was a rant on Facebook. They had blocked me, and I thought unfairly, and I put out an episode, and it was pretty much about the unstandard standards of Facebook's community standards. And this is pretty much a continuation of that, because we're going to talk all day about how, unstandard the community standards are. And mostly it depends on how much money you have, or how much power and political influence you can swing. Because this is what it's all about, and we've seen some really interesting things from Mark Zuckerberg and his company in the last couple of weeks. Now, one interesting thing to note on the unstandard standards is there's a group called Will We Get Suspended? They have a Twitter handle too. And what they did was they're putting a little experiment. What they're doing is they're posting word for word what the president posts on his Facebook page. They post it word for word on theirs, and to see if they will get suspended. And sure enough, they were. And it was for a deal that the president put out that said something along the lines of, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And they posted that word for word. So while the president, his post was left up, and it was probably reported by thousands, if not tens of thousands of people. This other group, the Will We Get Suspended group, does it. Somebody complains, and guess what? They got suspended for it. So that put them in the spotlight for one thing. And then the bigger spotlight is the Joe ads that have been coming out from Joe Biden. On Facebook, where, hey, did you know we can say anything we want? Ice cream is bad, 2 + 2 is 5, because they won't police political speech from the president because they're scared. Mark Zuckerberg is scared. So he's scared of the president. He's scared that they're going to put a bunch of sanctions on him, tax him, take his wealth from him. But then, this is in a great backfire. All of a sudden, companies decided, we're not going to buy ads with Facebook, because this is what they do. They sell ads. That's how they make their money. They don't make their money off your Facebook page. They make your money off you by having a page, because this way what they do is they can farm your data. They can put it into a nice, like an access database system where they can query whatever they want. This type of person likes this, and then they can put you into nice groups. And then they can sell that information and sell ads to that information. This is part of their marketing campaign. Even to my show, I have a page on Facebook, of course, because it's good advertising medium. I'll post this into other groups and on my Facebook page as well to get people to watch it. It's a great medium for that. And I had bought some ads from them, little $5 here and there, but I haven't since April because something interesting happened. We posted on the Across the Desk page a story from the Oklahoma Democrat Party, and it got flagged. And this is from a legitimate place, and it got flagged, and they suspended our account for 30 days. Well, this was very detrimental. This was very detrimental to my page. Not only that, to my businesses, because when they blocked that, they blocked me. They blocked all my other business pages. I couldn't do anything. So I want to show you something, and the irony on all this is that day they send me this $5 ad coupon. Of course, it's good for 30 days, so I'm like, okay, so it won't be good by the time I get back. So what I do is I try to use it, and I get this message that says, hey, your content's blocked, and I'll be able to use this. So, it's kind of cynical in that respect. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a show on them. So I've been collecting data, and then by fortune, hey man, all this stuff comes out in the last 2 weeks, and now you got the Joe Biden campaign hitting them hard. You got this one group that's out there making the headlines, will we get suspended? And sure enough, wow, the unstandard standards of Facebook's community standards are on full display. And then the next thing you know, places like the North Face, aren't advertising with him anymore. And this is what happens. So now Zuckerberg, who just lost about 85 billion in worth in one shot, and his company lost billions more, that really has affected them. So now Zuckerberg came out and has said, you know what, we're going to change. We're implementing a panel to go through this and eliminate hate and everything else, because now money's in play, real money, because he lost a lot of money in value. And I'm sure that hurts, especially when he sat on his hands and derided Twitter for saying, man, they shouldn't be fact checking the president or anything else. They shouldn't be doing it. We disagree with it. Well, Twitter didn't lose $86 billion in a day. Mark Zuckerberg, this is what you get with this guy. He's obviously brilliant at putting this together and doing what he can in a media sense like that. But when it comes to actually, ethics, and when it comes to actual management, actually having, the gumption to be able to put your foot down and not cow to anybody else, he just doesn't have it. And that's on full display. And they're getting really hammered with this. Now, the other thing I want to point out with Facebook that's quite deceptive is these ads like this. There's an ad here. It says, hey, this is from Yvonne. This is total fake. Don't buy this. You look at this, hey, man, we're going to sell you a guitar for $70. You see these ads like this on there. I'm a musician. I see this ad. So they want you to go on there and buy a car, and you can. And guess what? You can put in your money, you can pay $70, and you will never get a guitar. And you can report this ad to Facebook, and they won't do anything about it. As a matter of fact, next week you'll see more ads from the same people. And Facebook they'll just take the money. That's what they do. They take the money, and that's what they care about. This is all about the money. They want to be able to sell ads, and they're going to be able to do that in any way they want. So when the president pays them a buttload of money to sell ads for their campaign or anything else, well, you know what? They're probably going to be a little more lenient with their community standards than they are with other people. And it's not really a fair system. They're lying to you when they say it is, and that we're looking out for the community and we're looking out for the best well-being of Americans. No, they're looking out for the best well-being of their bottom line. They want to sell your data. They want you to fill out those surveys so they can get your information, so they can pool you with other people, and they can sell that data to other businesses to buy ads through Facebook, so they can make billions every quarter. That's Facebook's game. It's what they're doing. They really don't care about you or your profile or who your friends are. Hey, you've been friends with Marley for 10 years. Let's celebrate. They don't care. That's an algorithm that does that. And they're slick at coming up with new ways to do stuff. And they're obviously very slick when it comes to trying to get out of, civic responsibilities with their platform. So they're getting slammed. They're getting slammed by Joe Biden's campaign, and rightfully so. And I think that's a big one right there, because I'm sure the Biden campaign spends money with them. They spent money for that ad they did, blasting Facebook. And still, that might have got to them a little bit. But I think really what got to them is, a lot of companies decided we're just not going to advertise with Facebook anymore as long as they're promoting hate, as long as they're promoting an uneven playing field between the big money payers, those in power, and those that don't have it. So there you have. That's what we have with Facebook today. They're kind of in a big drama over this. And I don't think it's really going to kill Facebook as far as, a medium we use on a daily basis. But, having $85 billion taken out of your revenue, you see that. You feel that. And so I really believe this might actually get them to change. We'll see. If it actually gets them to change, I have another feeling the way they operate, this may be just a reason to find another reason to cover their butt by seeming like they're doing something. They're going to put this panel together of scholars, doctorates in sociology and whatnot, and that's probably a good thing. And they'll have these people review it. I'd like to see just how autonomous that is and see how that would really work. I personally haven't bought an ad for them since they blocked us for sharing a story that was obviously a legitimate story. Just because, at that point I realized they're not reliable. They're just not reliable as a marketing medium if they're going to block you for 30 days, and that includes all your businesses that you do business with through Facebook, so people can get a hold of you. Some people get a hold of me for my other interest I have, asking me questions about other businesses through Facebook. And when they do that, I can't respond to them when I'm blocked. Of course, that's, people know that. People, you know, not everybody's going to like you, and some people want to actually do you harm, and those people will actually try to find a way. And sometimes, hey, this works, and they can do that. So this right there makes them vulnerable for me to want to use as a strong advertising medium when they can do this and be influenced by other people, whether it's on the up and up or not. That makes it a risk for me and my businesses to want to advertise for them. And when you see cynical stuff like allowing people to sell sham stuff on their site and sending you coupons that are only good during the time you're blocked, it's kind of it's disheartening for one thing, and it really doesn't make you enthused about their platform for another. So this is what we have. We had Facebook taking a big loss. They're socially in turmoil with everybody. A lot of people have come out against them here lately about their support for what the president says, catching him in different stuff, and that's where we're at. Also, I'd like to point out one thing interesting. When I was doing this, putting the show together, they had sent me a deal asking requests to use their images and stuff. And so I did, and I told, well, tell us about your show. Oh, this episode actually eviscerates you guys pretty good. And I want you to see this email he sent me back. In this email, it pretty much says, hey, thanks for thinking of us for your content, but we're not going to allow you to use our logo. I can't use their logo in this episode because it shows their brand in a poor light. Of course it does. So therefore, since it's going to make them look bad, and the most cynical, maybe ego-driven thing I've seen is the next line where it says, this goes against our community standards. Now, mind you, this is a YouTube show. YouTube is not owned by Facebook, not even a part of their platform, but, goes against their community standards. So I thought that was very arrogant of them to even put that in a reply. So we're not authorized to use their logo, and we're not going to. Of course, I don't think it's necessary, really, that I'm going to have to get the point across that, hey, you know what? These people at Facebook, well, they're after the money. That's what they care about. And however they can get it. If they can put on a facade that, we're very civic minded, we really care about equality, if that sells them more ads, well, that's what they're going to do. And then that's what you got with Facebook today. And especially with the leadership of Mark Zuckerberg, and you can tell just how bad his leadership is when people are walking out the door. You have them doing a virtual strike on and posting about it on Twitter, about how, hey man, these terms and services, you're not upholding them, and we disagree with it. So, they probably got some great people working with them that really want to do good stuff, but you got people in the upper management that don't care about that. They only care about the money, and this is obvious. And hopefully, hey, if they really do care about the money, well, then they're going to change, because they just lost a lot of it. Well, that's the episode this week. I hope you guys had a great 4th of July weekend. I hope you were safe and doing your social distancing, not being in large groups. And I'm glad that the numbers are starting to come down, but we still got a little ways to go, and you really need to work on getting a vaccine, which I'm pretty sure they're doing right now as we're speaking. So anyway, that's my show for this week. Going off on Facebook rant about Facebook's unstandard standards when it comes to Facebook's community standards. I hope you enjoyed this show and it was informative for you. We'll see you next week.